trying to do?
What do they look like? Get rid of them soldiers and there'll be nobody to stop us from getting out of this country.
Why, you numbskull. Those two troopers aren't the only ones around here. One shot would bring a whole platoon down on us.
Yeah, how do you know? That's awful yellow talk, Ringo. Coming from a man who makes a habit of plugging cavalry troopers.
He only killed one, they say.
I'm getting fed up with you, Greb. Now, you'll not do any shooting unless I tell you to. Chances are 1,000 to 1 they won't find us in this brush. We'll hole up and move out after dark.
Yeah. Wait and let them pick us off.
It's no good.
You'll do it my way. You two have to join up with me crossing the Badlands. I didn't go to you.
If we'd known then the army was on your trail, we wouldn't have...
It's so.
All right, then go ahead.
We're going out. But you're taking us, Ringo.
Now, Grab, you fool. He's Ringo.
Sure. I was only fooling.
Well, I'm not. Now then, get on your horses and get started.
Only you know the trail.
Go ahead, do as I say.
You're loco, Greb. You got no brain in your head. You try to get the drop on Ringo, the fastest man with a gun in this whole country. He killed like that. Well, I forgot. Forgot? You almost forgot for good.
Hey, the sergeant must have got Ringo. Yeah, let's get going.
What happened, Sergeant?
One of them went for his gun.
Ringo?
No, Lieutenant. He isn't your brother. They quit Ringo 2 hours ago. Shall we keep after him, sir?
No, too much of a start for today. It'll be getting dark soon. Besides, that man needs medical attention. Take him to post.
The very fact that you two chose to travel with a notorious outlaw like Ringo can only mean one thing, that you're outlaws yourselves.
No, Colonel. We do nothing. We just go with Ringo.
You're an Apache, aren't you?
Yes. I go back to Apache Reservation. Him, he go with me.
You were with Ringo when he killed Captain Maltman of Monticello.
No, we only heard about it later. The law's got no hold on us.
I'll hold you both for investigation. Of course, if you can tell me anything that might aid in his capture, it might go easy with you. Which way was he heading?
North.
Where north?
I don't know, but one time he talked about crossing the Colorado River.
Lock him up.
But you just said if we
What
told
you told me doesn't mean anything. Take him out. Now, if Ringo was heading for the Colorado, he'll come out of the Black Rocks near Kearney Pass. Lieutenant Baker, you and Sergeant Gowdy take a detail, intercept him there, leave at dawn.
We'd better be there by dawn, Colonel.
Yes, I think you're right.
This time, bring him back. Remember, he shot down an officer of mine in cold blood. If he offers any resistance, use whatever force is necessary.
I was told that Ringo shot in self-defense, sir.
You were told wrong.
I was there and I saw it, sir. Ringo drew first. It was murder. I'll have the detail ready at 3 a.m., sir.
Very good. Gowdy feels very keenly about this. He served under Captain Maltman for many years. The captain was his best friend.
Colonel Price, wouldn't it be possible to have Lieutenant Davis assigned to this detail instead of me?
Why, Lieutenant, you're well aware that you and Sergeant Gowdy are the only two who can identify that brother of yours.
Yes, sir. Good night, sir.
Oh, Mr. Baker. Will you sit down? Will you have a cigar?
No, thanks.
Tell me, how did you and your brother come to ride such different trails?
I had a choice, sir. John Baker didn't.
Well, no man is forced to become an outlaw.
He's not an outlaw, sir. He's never robbed or stolen in his life. A gunman, yes, but never a thief.
But he's killed men.
Yes, the first time when I was 15. A drunken cowboy was beating me with his gun butt. Ringo stopped him. The other man tried to shoot him. Ringo shot first. He had to hide out. He was always too fast with a gun. The next thing, he hired out as a gun hand. It's been like that ever since.
And the name of Ringo, how did your brother come by that?
Ringo. When we were small boys in Las Cruces, we only had Mexican kids to play with. They called John the Gringo because he was an American. I was too young to understand. I thought they said Ringo. Later, I didn't like it when others called him that, too. But he always liked the name Ringo because I gave it to him. So you see, sir, Ringo and I have always been friends as well as brothers. That's why I've asked to be relieved of this mission.
Lieutenant Baker, as an officer in the cavalry of the United States, you've sworn an oath of fidelity to your flag. Your first allegiance is due that military organization of which you are a part. If any sentimental feeling toward your brother would lead you to dereliction of duty, I suggest that you read again the penalty provided in the Articles of War.
The orders will be carried out, sir.
That is all, Lieutenant.
Colonel Price, just why did you ask me all those questions?
No, merely curiosity.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
Sergeant. Split the men up. We'll cover this area singly and in twos. But if you see Ringo, don't try to take him alone. We want him alive if possible. Fire 3 shots for help.
What's the lieutenant gonna do, sir?
I'll take this canyon here.
Alone? Isn't that the most dangerous spot of all?
Less dangerous for me than for you, Sergeant. That's all.
Forward! Gallop! Ho!
How do you feel, Mike?
I'll be all right.
Bullet just creased you. I saw the uniform and fired. I didn't know it was you.
Ringo the Gringo. That's the first time you ever missed.
riding old paint, leading old ball. Gonna quit work this coming fall. Gonna quit work, collect my roll. Going in the hills and look for gold. And I'm gonna get married, I'll swear I will. Gonna settle down on the Santa Fe Trail, riding old paint, leading old ball. There's a pretty little girl I got in mind. The golden nuggets I'm sure to find. Happiness, it's bound to come our way. We'll settle down in the hut for two, out in the hills where skies are blue. Riding old paint, and leading old ball. Oh boy, I'm a riding old paint and a leading old ball. Gonna quit work this coming fall. Gonna quit work, collect my roll. Going in the hills and look for gold. And I'm gonna get married, I'll swear I will. Gonna settle down on the Santa Fe Trail, riding old paint, da-da-da-da-da, and leading old ball. Gonna settle down on the Santa Fe Trail, riding old paint, and leading old ball.
What took you so long? I had to get them out of the brush, but they're ours, all right. They got our brands. What about those? Oh, they're mine. Well, I'd sure hate to explain it to Proctor if they weren't. Let's get them on home. Okay, boss.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Nice-looking bunch of cattle you got over there.
Them ain't ours. You one of Proctor's new hands?
Proctor's?
Oh, no, I guess you ain't. Never seen one of Proctor's men without a gun.
Oh. Well, I was just riding through and wondered if this was the road to Gunlock.
Right on down.
Well, thanks.
It's old man Jeffries.
Get going, Nellie! Get going! Now get yourself back to where you came from.
Those are Bar Kane men.
I got as much right on that pass as the Bar Kane. Maybe you don't understand. Maybe you need a little more shaking up.
Hold it, Fergus. Now, that's the one thing I don't want to have happen. Anybody hurt. Especially an old man. I told you back there, Sam, this was a private road, that it belonged to the Bar K. You shouldn't have tried to ride through.
I was hauling these provisions to my boys over on Roundup at Grass Mesa. He said I had to go through Turkey Gap. That's 8 or 9 miles extra.
I don't allow trespassers on my land, and that includes you, Larrabee.
Your land? This is government land. We got as much right here as you have.
What do you think of that, Judge?
Well, it is generally accepted as an unwritten law among cattlemen that whoever uses open range first has priority rights over anybody else.
Well, I don't accept it, and neither do any of the rest of what you call us little ranchers accept it. You've been trying everything you can, Proctor, to get us off of here, but we're not leaving.
You may leave suddenly in a way you don't like, if you don't stop rustling Bar K stock.
I ain't been rustling your stock, you know that.
You got a pretty big herd for a small operator. And today's the second time this month I caught you cutting in on my main bunch.
Small group of cattle will always joined up with a bigger herd.
I was just cutting out some of my own brand. If you don't believe me, ask one of your hired thugs here to go look.
Now, Glenn, don't be so hot-headed. I'm sure Mr. Proctor does believe you.
Did you hear that, Fergus? He called you a hired thug.
Yeah, I heard him.
I don't like it, and I can't understand why you'd stand still for it.
I ain't. No need going for a gun, Larrabee. Come on, get up!
There's no need to go this far.
I'm afraid there is, Judge. It's the only kind of language these people understand.
Say, mister, I feel kind of sorry for you.
Who, me?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
He didn't last long enough to hardly give you any work out at all. It's too bad.
Maybe you'd like to step in and try it, stranger.
Be glad to accommodate you.
Oh, smart guy, huh?
Let him fight. Put it away, Dancer. Good job well done, mister. What is your name?
Not that names matter. Steve McKay.
Mr. McKay, you handled yourself very efficiently. And I admire efficiency. I could use a man like you. How'd you like to work for the Barquet?
Thanks for the offer. But I reckon I'll be drifting along.
Well, if you change your mind, look me up. Jeffries, you and Larrabee get off this range right away.
You sure pulverized him, mister. A lot of us thought of beating up on Fergus, but nobody has.
Thanks, Mr. McKay. I'm sorry I didn't last no longer.
You didn't have much of a chance, did you?
That Fergus ain't gonna forget that whipping you gave him, never. You keep an eye on him. You watch out for them two pals of his, too, that Dancer and Pope.
You ought to wear a gun, too. How come you don't?
Well, the gun's too heavy. It kind of sags my pants out of shape.
Yeah, well, I'd rather get caught without my pants than without my gun, with that gang around trying to take in all the country.
Well, it seems to me there's room enough for everybody, a country as big as this.
Not anymore. Price of beef's down. Big operators like Proctor makes up the difference by increasing their herds. Bigger herds means crowding small ranchers like us off the grazing land. Far as I'm concerned, he's already done it.
Hey, you quitting? Well, I ain't. I worked too hard for the little bit I got, and I'm gonna keep it. Oh, you get enough of us little fellas together, and we can stop that Proctor. Make something out of this country.
That's all right for you, but I'm an old man, a widower. If there's a range war, I got nothing to win. Different with you, Glenn. You're young and strong, and you've got a girl that's going to marry you.
Well, I guess I'll be on my way. So long, fellas.
So long. Oh, I'm sorry you're leaving, Mr. McKay. Gun like could sure use a fella like you. Might even make you a business proposition myself.
Thanks. That's the second offer I've had today. But I wasn't cut out to stay planted in one place very long. With my regards to that girl you're planning to marry.
Where were you today?
Why, Louise, what is it?
Some of Wade Proctor's men were in the general store a while ago. Mr. Worley overheard them talking about how they had a run-in with old man Jeffries and Glenn Larrabee, and that Glenn was badly beaten up.
Oh, that's not true. Fergus did knock him down, but he wasn't hurt.
Then you were there when it happened. Oh, Dad.
Proctor asked me to ride out with him. Seems Jeffries and Larrabee have been trespassing.
And you stood by while men like Fergus and Polk and that little snake dancer ganged up on Glenn. You represent the law, only you didn't stop them.
Well, I did protest, Louise, but in a way they were in the right. Not that I disapprove of Glenn. He's a fine young man, but, well, I was helpless.
Yes, helpless. And as long as you're territorial judge, you'll always be helpless because Wade Proctor put you there.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. I was the logical choice for the office.
And since there's been nothing but intimidation and fighting and even property burned, and the only ones who ever see the inside of the jail are the marshal and the town drunk.
Evidence is difficult to procure without adequate help. I'm doing everything possible to bring better law enforcement to this section, and someday we'll have it.
Someday? Glenn and I can't wait until we're old and white-headed to get married and have a home that's safe and decent. Oh, Dad. You were never this way when Mother was living. You've become weak and you're letting Proctor make a fool out of you.
Louise, I won't have my daughter talk to me like this. No man's making a fool out of me. Everything I do for Wade Proctor is strictly legal.
Legal? Then of course that makes it all right.
Hello, Livy.
Oh, Ringo.
The name is now McKay. Steve McKay. By golly, it's sure good to look at you again. It's been too long.
Almost 2 years.
You look fine. Beautiful.
Oh, even in this. You haven't had your supper.
Why, I help myself. You mind if I eat and talk at the same time?
You always did, Ring. Steve, I should say. Black coffee. No cream, no sugar.
Good memory.
I suppose I'm the reason you're in Gunlock.
Yes, I heard down south you had moved up here and opened a restaurant. I figured I might as well travel in this direction as any. And I had to travel.
Why don't you go back and face them? Stand trial.
No, Livy. I couldn't prove it was self-defense in a million years.
How did it happen?
Even an army officer can get drunk and want to prove that he can outdraw a professional gunman. In this case, he happened to pick on one by the name of Ringo.
And when they find you?
They won't, because the man they're looking for wears guns. Steve McKay doesn't even own one.
If only Ringo never had.
Yes, things might have been different between you and me.
A woman's a selfish creature. You must know that by now. Along with her man, she wants comfort and security and permanence.
Sorry I couldn't give you those things, Livy.
You were always going away. Always getting in trouble.
You still didn't find what you were looking for when you turned me down and married Bert Weston instead?
No, that was a mistake. I knew it the first week, but it was too late. When he got sick, I nursed him until he died, and then, well, I was free. I had to get away somewhere where I could think. So I came up here. I had to earn my living, so I opened this restaurant. I've been doing pretty well, too. You knew all along Bert was wrong for me. Why didn't you tell me?
The rejected suitor. Would you have believed me?
No. I'll get you some cake.
Livy, come with me. We'll go to Canada. It's a big country, and they could never find 100 like me. We'll settle down and start a new life.
You settle down. There's a wildness in your blood that'll never let you do that. It's not the life for me. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sorry, too. I'll say goodbye to you before I leave, if you'll let me.
If I let you.
Olivia, maybe you found what you're looking for here.
I don't know.
There's a man.
If you must know, yes.
I'm sorry, I should have asked you that first. And good luck to both of you. Good evening, Mr. Proctor.
Good evening. Here's the perfume, Livy. Came all the way from Chicago.
Thank you, Wade. You two already know each other.
Yes, we met each other on the road today.
This is the last place I expected to see you.
Oh, Steve and I were friends in New Mexico.
Really? Have you given any more thought to what I spoke of today?
I'm starting to think about it right now. Good night, folks.
Lovely, Wade. It's what a lady needs.
Where'd you say you knew him from?
New Mexico. Just an old friend who stopped off to say hello.
You know, there's only one thing against Louise in the whole blame world that I can see, and that's her pa. Funny thing, Judge used to be a pretty regular fella, though. Oh, what a gal.
Prettiest girl around here, I suppose.
Oh, better than that, but she's the prettiest girl in the state of Utah, in the whole West, in all the United States. But she's the best-looking girl in the whole world. Hey!
What does she look like?
Oh, she's little and sort of bendy.
Bendy? You mean bandy-legged?
No, you know, bendy like a willow tree in the breeze.
And, she's got brown hair.
Yeah, brown hair, green eyes.
Uh-huh. And, she doesn't wear a hat.
No. Say, how'd you know that?
How do you do? Is Mr. Larrabee around?
He sure is, ma'am. You'll find him right down there on the first floor. Say, Glenn. Glenn, there's a lady to see you.
That was a mean trick.
I'm a mean hombre. You're Louise Cole. I'm Steve McKay.
Are you working for Mr. Larrabee?
No, I'm working with him. I'm his new partner.
Since when?
About a week ago.
Glenn was in day before yesterday. He didn't tell me.
Well, I asked him not to say anything to anybody about it for a while.
Oh. Will you be going with us to the farewell gathering for Sam Jeffries this evening?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it was our idea. Glenn and I thought it'd be a good chance to get the ranchers together.
Her lips are red as a gander's feet in huckleberry time. Her eyes are brown as berries, and like diamonds they do shine. Her lips are red as a rooster's comb, and her arms they love to twine. I'll tell you, boy, it's heaven with that high-born gal of mine. But sheepskin corn and a wrinkle on the horn will chain old rock when the weather gets warm. And who's a who? There's gonna be some lovin' in the swamps on the bayou, oh, but sheepskin corn and a wrinkle on the horn will chain old rock when the weather gets warm.
Can't be for a while, honey. We've got to wait.
Wait for what?
Well, gotta wait till the ranch starts paying. Man can't get married till he knows if he's gonna be living on chicken or feathers.
If I don't care, why should you?
Well, I do care. I care more about what happens to you than anyone in Utah, anyone in the United States, anyone in the whole world.
We'll chain old rock when the weather gets warm. And who's a who? There's gonna be some lovin' in the swamp on the bayou, oh, but sheepskin corn and a wrinkle on the horn.
I don't know, Steve. It ain't easy to pull out roots that have been planted here as long as mine have. If I can't get them all out, I guess part of me'll have to stay. But I'm going. I've fought things like droughts and floods, blizzards, where my stock froze to death standing up. That's part of nature, though. And where she takes away one blade of grass, someday she puts another one back to sort of even things up. But I can't fight guns in the dark. That's what this is leading to, not me. Here's to kindness.
I'll take care of it, Mrs. Weston.
Oh, thank you, Sally. Good evening, Mrs. Tebler, Mrs. Barnes. Here are the pies.
Good evening. So nice of you to come, Lily.
Mr. Jeffrey said he just couldn't go till he tasted one of your pies again.
How nice. Well, I thought you were on your way to Canada.
Without saying goodbye first? Oh, no.
So you've decided to stay in Gunlock for a while.
For a while.
Wade Proctor told me he made you an offer the other day to join up with him.
I have no intentions of joining up with him.
Around here, you're either with Proctor or against him.
Why are you so with him?
He's been nice to me. Nicer than most men. Considerate. He was kind to me when I first came here and was lonely. I don't particularly care for some of those men working for him, but Wade has the power in him to become a big man someday.
He seems to be doing all right now.
I don't mean entirely in the terms of wealth. But Wade is a leader by nature, and he's strong in a country that needs strong leaders. To some, he may seem ruthless, but he's always willing to pay for what he wants.
And he's not a drifter and a saddle tramp with the law 2 jumps behind him like me.
No, he's not. I'm sorry. That wasn't very nice to say.
Yeah, forget it. We can't all be like Proctor. Let's go over and get some cider and talk about something else.
Steve, I've got to tell you, Wade doesn't like you.
Yeah. Well, I've got a hunch that after tonight he's going to like me a lot less.
Hello, Mamacita.
Hello.
Where's Miss Weston?
Not here. She gone.
Gone? Gone where?
Big goodbye party.
I don't know anything about any party.
Savvy San Jeffries. There, maybe.
Sam Jeffries.
Contest before?
What's the prize, did he say?
4 bushels of potatoes that Sam can't take away with him.
Well, if I'm a winner, I'm going to have potato salad on the bill of fare for once.
You just lost a good customer because I don't like potato salad.
What do you want, Proctor?
Came to talk business with you, Sam. Didn't know you were having a farewell party.
The reason you didn't know is because you weren't invited.
I'll drive you home later, Libby, as soon as I finish my business with Sam. You mind waiting in the buggy?
No need for Mrs. Weston to leave. She's enjoying herself. I'll see her home.
Thanks, but that might be out of your way. Well, Sam, when I heard you was leaving, I came to help you out, just like I said. I've got a check on my Salt Lake bank to cover your whole herd, like we agreed. Remember?
Yes, I remember. You said if I decided to leave, you'd give me $4 a hundred for my cattle.
$4 a hundred? That's pretty cheap.
Not cheap at all. With prices falling in short grass, that's a very fair price.
Yes, Mrs. Weston was just telling me you always paid for what you wanted.
But not enough. I figured $5 wasn't any too high.
You bought them?
That's right, he did.
With what? Where'd you get that kind of money?
None of your business.
I'm going to make it some of my business. I bid on those cattle first, and I'm going to make Sam keep his word.
If Sam gave you his word to sell those cattle at that price, it was because that little sawed-off gunslick dancer had a gun in his back.
I've been listening to your loud mouth for weeks now, cowboy, and I've taken all your lip I'm going to.
I guess I didn't teach you a thing the other day, huh?
Now, take it easy, Glenn.
Easy nothing.
All right, Larrabee. You might be lucky.
Whoa, Elaine, whoa. Well, my goodness, good evening, friends. I saw your welcome light gleaming down the road, and I might add, I smelt the aroma of a sumptuous repast. But enough of that for the time being. Allow me to introduce myself, folks. I'm Buck Yallop, gunsmith. I buys, sells, swaps, and repairs all makes of guns. Now, Jenks, you show me a feller that was killed in the gunfight, and I'll show you and prove to you that that feller's gun wasn't in proper condition. Now, you better let me fix you up, men, before you get flat on your back and can't get up. I come here to help you folks special, because I heard there was a range war brewing between you and some thieving, land-grabbing hyenas.
Shut up, you old windbag.
Why, did I say something?
You must be hungry, Mr. Yellop.
Thank you, ma'am.
You got the bill of sale for those cattle, Larrabee? I haven't got it. Then I don't recognize your ownership.
Will you, recognize mine and Larrabee's?
Thought you didn't like ranching.
The bug just bit me. And I hope you respect the Jeffries brand the same as everybody else respects the Bar K.
You're making a mistake throwing in with these people.
You might be making a mistake fighting them. Folks, one of the reasons for this meeting was so that I could have a chance to talk to you. I've got a stake here now, just like the rest of you. Glenn Larrabee told me a few days ago that if enough of you ranchers got together, you could make something out of this country and keep what you've worked so hard to get. That's what I'm asking you to do now. Stick together for a change. You haven't done it before, and that's been the trouble. I hope it doesn't mean fighting, but we'll fight if we have to. Even if it means fighting the Bar K.
Well, let's lay on the cards on the table. Very pretty little speech. Now we see what happens. Get your things, Livy. I'll meet you at the buggy. All right, boys. So long, dancer.
Oh, say, that's an awful good-looking gun there, son. Needs cleaning, though. Say, you know you could draw that a lot faster if you'd let me file that side off.
It hasn't changed you after all, has it? Wherever you go, you draw trouble and violence, just as you always have.
Seeing them that chicken remind me I ain't had a thing today.
Oh. Thank you. Thank you very much, Steve.
For a man who don't even pack a gun, you're the best shot I ever saw.
It's lucky I hit it at all.
There ain't gonna be no holding that Larrabee now that he's got a running mate. You can have Larrabee, but I'll settle with McKay. We ought to fire their ranch. That'd take him down a notch.
Listen, McKay started something we have to stop.
Well, let's go inside, folks. I've got something else I want to talk to you about.
For snap shooting, that newcomer pulled one of the luckiest and fastest shots I ever saw.
Fast, yeah. But I'm not so sure it was lucky. You know, Livy, whenever you say the word, I'm going to make you the richest and most prominent woman in this part of Utah. So if I were you, I wouldn't mix too much with those ranchers.
Those people are friends of mine, Wade.
Might be a good idea to make friends with people that are going to be here permanently.
What are you going to do to those people? You're not going to hurt them, are you?
There's one I'd like to hurt. I wish you'd keep away from him. No, no one's going to get hurt. But when I exercise my legal rights, I don't think many of them are going to want to stay around here. But that's progress, Livy. You can't build a strong community out of weak people. Anyone with an eye for the future can see that.
Yes, I suppose you're right.
I figure that's the best plan for now. If we bunch our cattle and run them in one big herd, they'll be a lot easier to watch than a lot of little ones.
That sounds awful good to me.
I'm for it. Sounds good to me.
There's just one thing I got to know. Who's going to help me unload that wagon and take the stuff back in the house?
No need to look, Wade. There's no legal justification for such an action.
You right one, then. Without the range, they can't raise cattle. Oh, I'll buy their herds and acreage as fast as they move out. They won't lose by it. You know, Tom, I don't want to steal anything.
It's generally true that the policy of open range has been largely fixed by cattle associations, and many of their rules later enacted into law by the legislature, but I can't precede the action of the legislature. It'd be illegal.
What about the fact that my cattle were on the range first?
Oh, but they weren't.
How does anybody know that? As far as I'm concerned, if one of my steers stray onto those ranges, it gives me priority. There's nothing in the association's agreement that says how many cattle would be there or how long.
What you ask is impossible, Wade. It'd be unethical.
Unethical?
Yes.
I'm afraid our idea of ethics differ. Now, you go home and write out the proper form. Nobody will know it's on the legislature's books until it's too late.
I can't do it. It'd cause trouble.
Look, Tom. The office of judge carries a great deal of dignity and honor with it. Things I happen to know mean a lot to you. Gives you position, money, and more to come. Someday you'll be the biggest political force in this part of the country. Well, I need you now. But you need me more. And if you don't fill out those notices, you're going right back to being a nobody again. Just where you were when I first met you.
You're trying to intimidate me.
No, just giving you a choice. But the wrong choice will make you an enemy of the Bar K. You know how my boys feel about our enemies. I can't watch them all the time.
All right, Wade.
You and I can go a long way together, Judge. Let's have a drink.
Referring to rangeland bounded on the north and east by Starkweather Ridge, on the south of Turkey Gap, and on the west by the headwaters of Innick Creek.
Notice is hereby given that this grazing area is henceforth restricted to the sole and exclusive use of the Bar K Ranch.
Trespassers are warned to remove their cattle from this area immediately. August 18th, 1881. Signed Thomas H. Cole, Territorial Judge. Well, there you are, gents. You're inclined to use that gun of yours too much, Glenn.
Too much? I ain't been using it enough. I wonder if Proctor figures folks will really vamoose when they read that there thing.
Maybe he figures some of them will. But for those who don't, it's a good excuse for him to fight with the so-called law on his side. Harvey, you and Ed ride out and tell the rest of the ranchers we're going to run our cattle together from now on, as I suggested. And keep watch. Let's get on back to camp.
Cattle gone astray, left my range and traveled away. the son of a gun, I'm here to say, have left me dead broke today. In gambling halls they're laying, in thousand cattle straying, and now my gal has gone away, left my shack and traveled away with a son of a gun from a mile away, and left me lonely today. In gambling halls they laying, in thousand cattle straying, in gambling halls they laying, 10,000 cattle straying.
You know, I don't know what's the matter with me. I can't sing nothing but sad songs tonight.
Yeah, so I hear. Even the cows is bawling.
Well, I never heard a cow laugh just because it was happy.
Cut that, will you, Stewart? You ain't out here to bay at the moon.
Oh, but
Boss, I just keep your trap shut and your eyes and your ears open. Al, you want to ride down to camp with me and get some Java?
yeah.
Here.
Well, sure. I'm glad you asked me that, neighbor. Well, I'm just making a grand tour of the territory, trying to find some customers that might be interested in purchasing deadly weapons. Now, here's a couple of cannons.
Well, it's all peaceful. Hope it stays that way. Or maybe I don't. Quicker the fire starts, the quicker we can put it out.
Yeah. Now, here's a couple of cannon that's had history. Frank James toted that Navy code all through the Civil War when he was a servant with Clark Quantrell.
That's a lot of bunk.
You seem to know all the bad men.
Oh, no. Why, shucks, neighbor, I've outfitted more than half of them. Why, this little beauty here was the personal property and the pride of a famous gunman. A man, a feller that just threw fear and trembling into every man that dared face him. Yes, sir. Why, that man is operating right today. That is, if they ain't caught him and hung him. I guess you gents have all heard of Ringo, ain't you?
Ringo. He pulled some stuff down New Mexico way, from what I heard.
Pulled some stuff? Why, say, listen, brother, that there is the very gun that he used to get his man for breakfast every morning. Yes, sir. Why, the fella even plugged his own brother. That's a fact. An Army lieutenant. Lieutenant always said that he shot himself accidentally, but shucks, I didn't swallow that.
Those are mighty fancy handles.
Here.
Where'd you get this gun?
Oh, shucks, I got that from Ringo direct. Well, shucks, almost direct. You see, he give it to a fella for a tip for ferrying him across the Colorado River. Oh, of course, the fella didn't know at the time that he was Ringo. But he read a description of him later. Look at that. Ain't that a beauty?
Ringo crossed the Colorado River. He must be up in this country someplace. When did this happen?
Oh, shucks, I don't know. About a month ago, I guess. Yes, sir, now, gents, I got all sorts of firearms here. You just come up, pick your brand, drag the money out of your pockets, and any one of them's yours.
Did you ever meet this Ringo?
Oh, meet him? Why, say, neighbor, me and Ringo, we was a fighting Injuns. Yes, sir. And this here Ringo and me, we was walking along one day, and Ringo sees an Injun pop up from behind a rock. Well, sir, quicker than you can kiss a duck, he draws and blasts away at him. Indian goes down behind the rock. Indian comes up again. Ringo picks up the wrong end. Ringo picks up the gun and blasts away again. Well, sir, fellas, this goes on time and time again. And Ringo can't figure out what's happened to his aiming eye. Well, finally, the Indian, he don't peek up from behind that rock no more. So Ringo goes over to investigate. Well, sir, would you believe it? Ringo wasn't shooting at just one Indian. By gosh, that fella had killed 27 of them. It's a fact.
In thousand cattle straying, in gambling halls they laying, in thousand
keep that joker occupied till you boys are all set. One shot will be the signal.
Gone away, left my shack.
Dancer. What are you doing out here?
I like to go riding in the moonlight. I like to look at cows.
Where's the other boys?
Just you and me, Stewart. I'll give you the honor of drawing first.
I ain't gonna do it, Dancer. I'm not gonna grab no gun.
Nobody's supposed to see us out here. So go for your gun because I'm going for mine.
I ain't gonna do it, Dancer. I'm not gonna grab at this gun.
I'll count to 3. You might be lucky.
No, Dancer, don't you do it. I'm not gonna do it.
1, 2.
That ain't hard to guess. We better find out what happened to Stewart. Come on, let's get our horses. Shot right in the heart. Must have been trying to defend himself. His gun was still in his hand.
And the last thing I said to him was, shut up.
Al, you go get the wagon. We'll take him back to the ranch.
I'm coming. No need to break the door down. Glenn.
You ought to be right proud of yourself, Judge. You wrote a fine thing when you wrote this notice, didn't you, Judge? You wrote a man's death sentence.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about Stewart lying out there with a bullet hole, dead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
With this notice that you wrote, Proctor and his gang think that they can get away with anything. They killed Stewart, they stampeded our cattle.
You know it was Proctor's men who did it?
I didn't see him, if that's what you mean.
Well, then you can't prove they're guilty.
No, but you could prove it, if you wanted to.
Glenn.
But who else could be guilty? We ain't fighting amongst ourselves, are we? They plugged Stewart because he must have seen him and tried to stop him. And you're as much to blame as if you'd shot him yourself.
How dare you come in here and talk this way to Dad?
You know I don't approve of violence.
Oh, don't give me that. You're in this with Proctor right up to your ears. If you don't pull these notices down, there's going to be a lot more bloodshed. And it won't all be on our side, neither.
You'd better leave here and cool off.
I'm leaving, but I ain't cooling off. I'm just warning you, Judge.
Oh, Glenn, be reasonable.
Reasonable? Say, it appears to me like you're in this right along with your pa. Well, all right, then, if that's the way you want it.
Glenn. does he think he is, breaking in here and acting as if you were a criminal?
He said nothing you haven't said already, only perhaps a little stronger.
Well, that's different. What's between us is in the family. Glenn isn't one of the family yet. And if he's going to fly off like that, he never will be.
Thank you for standing by me, Louise, but down in your heart, you know that everything he said is true. And now a man has been killed.
Yes. A man has been killed. Oh, Dad, why did you ever write that notice? Why have you let Proctor do this to you?
Oh, I didn't think of things would go this far. I've closed my mind to the truth too long. Been a fool and a coward. Afraid to risk losing something that never existed. I could never stand the thought of not being somebody important.
Fergus, dancer.
Who do you think you're double-crossing? Get back, Miss Cole.
Okay,
Leave the judge alone, Fergus. I hate to see things like this happen. But when Fergus and Dancer found out what you were up to, they got so mad I couldn't stop them.
Couldn't stop them.
I'll apologize to you someday when they simmer down.
Save that for others, Proctor. You and I are finished.
So I gathered. Sorry to hear it. I only hope you won't be sorry, too. You want plain talk? Well, here it is. Those notices stand. It's the law. And any man that goes up against us is liable to get shot. We're going to enforce the law around here. Now, you stay off of this range. Get on back to town like nothing had happened. And there won't be any more said about it. Tear up those cards, Pope. All right, boy.
I don't know, Dad. Maybe we should move somewhere else. Let Proctor have his way.
No.
I'm only thinking of you. What might happen to you?
It's a case now of fighting fire with fire. And there are others ready to do that. Steve McKay and Glenn Larrabee. We'll go see them.
We won't go to Glenn Larrabee. It's his place now to come to us.
You mean to come to you, don't you? Come on.
That's like pulling weeds out of an onion patch.
What are we going to do to all these critters after get them rounded up? Let the bar case stampede them again?
If they do, I'll shoot that Proctor on sight myself. Maybe there's some more of our brand up that draw over there.
Well, I sure wish Stewart was here to lighten things up with one of those songs of his.
Come on.
Well, Glenn, I want to talk to you. I just saw Judge Cole in town. He wants you to ride in with me and have a little powwow.
If Louise wants to talk to me, she can come out here.
I'm not talking about Louise. I'm talking about the judge. Of course, if you should accidentally bump into Louise, you won't lose face because this is a business meeting.
And what do I want to talk to the judge for?
Because he's on our side now to the finish. I don't know whether Proctor will respect those cancellation notices or not, but we will. We're going to have the law working for us now.
Now, we can take care of that barquet without Judge Cole.
Listen, you stubborn galoot. You're going to ride in with me, or if you don't, I'm going to pull you off that horse and pin your ears back. And I can do it, too. Let's go.
know, Steve, I never could figure out how you come to settle here so quick and pick a fight with Proctor. You know him someplace before?
No?
Good morning, Glenn, Mr. McKay.
Hello. Good morning.
I've just taken some hot cherry pies out of the oven. I thought you two lonesome ranchers might like some.
Well, we're pretty busy.
You better have some now. A company of hungry cavalrymen came in this morning, and some of the men are already in town.
They are?
They're camped at Bass Meadow. I believe a Colonel Price is in charge. Well, if you have time for pie later on, drop in. I'll try to save you some.
Well, thanks, Mrs. Weston. You know what, Steve? That fixes everything. I'm going to see that Colonel Price and tell him what's been going on. If Proctor wants to start anything now, he'll have the whole army to lick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. You better take Judge Cole with you. He can explain the situation there better than you can. I'll meet you there later.
Where are you going?
I'm going to find Proctor. The colonel might want to talk to him, too. You better get rolling, Glenn. What's Blythe's living?
It's dangerous for you now, Ringo. You can't stay here in Gunluck any longer.
Or any other place, I guess.
They were bound to catch up with you sooner or later.
I didn't think it'd be so soon. Is, my brother with him?
I don't know. I didn't see him.
Well, Livy, I guess it's goodbye once again. I was hoping that I might stay to see things finished before I had to leave. Take care of yourself.
Ringo. If Proctor's bad as some people say he is.
That's something that only you can decide, Livy. But I'm sure your decision will be the right one.
Ringo, you know I'm under orders to bring you in.
Yeah. But that'd be a little hard to do, unarmed and alone.
You shouldn't have stopped. We'd lost your trail. Now I'll have to report you.
Sure, kid, it's your duty. But give me a couple of hours. By that time, I'll be gone in all directions. See you again sometime.
Cash me in.
Taking it easy, huh, Sergeant?
Yeah. It's high time.
You men have done a fine job in this territory. It's getting so a man can walk down the street without looking over his shoulder.
Well, there's still a few you have to keep an eye peeled for.
I suppose so. Did you ever get that gunslinger that killed that officer in Monticello?
Not yet. Have an idea he's headed this way, but we're not sure.
His name was Ringo, wasn't it?
They called him that. His real name is John McKay Baker.
McKay? What kind of a looking fellow was he?
Oh, kind of tall, gray-eyed, weigh about 180, I guess.
I don't remember seeing anybody like that, but you never can tell. Have another drink.
I got to get back to camp. Thanks anyway.
See you later.
That description fits Steve McKay.
No wonder his first shot didn't miss that snake.
You know, Dancer, maybe it was lucky for you that hombre wasn't packing no guns.
I'm as good as he is any day.
I want you to pick up this fella, McKay. Take him to cavalry headquarters. I'll meet you there.
Pick him up? Where?
He's probably at Larrabee's ranch packing his saddlebags. I want him alive, Dancer. You haven't much time.
Get back in there. So you're Ringo, the fastest gun hand in Utah.
Pretty handy with these dukes, too.
Yeah.
This one's on me. All right, turn him loose.
Hey, we're supposed to take him in alive.
Proctor didn't say how much alive, did he?
Colonel Price? I'm Wade Proctor, owner of the Barkay Ranch.
Proctor, oh yes. I'm glad to see you, Mr. Proctor. These gentlemen have made a complaint against you.
Is that so?
I'd like to hear your side.
First, I have to know what the complaint is.
You know what it is.
Judge Cole claims that you forced him to sign a range restriction notice against the ranchers in this area.
And the judge is lying. I asked him to make out that order based on my priority rights. He filled out the notice of his own free will.
Then why did I cancel or attempt to cancel it?
You can look to Larrabee for the answer to that.
What do you mean you can look to me?
Colonel, since Glenn Larrabee has taken on a partner by the name of Steve McKay, there's been nothing but trouble around here. They've stirred up these so-called ranchers, tried to run the Barkay stock off the ranges, beat up on my men. They've even threatened me with bodily harm.
He's lying. Everything he says is a lie.
I'll conduct this inquiry, Mr. Larrabee.
As far as Judge Cole is concerned, he's nothing but a spineless drunkard.
Just a minute.
Larrabee's going to marry his daughter. He's got him under his thumb. Without Larrabee, he'd starve to death.
You're going too far.
We'll hear him to the end, Judge. Is that all you have to say?
Not quite. I refer to these people as so-called ranchers because I claim this conspiracy is a cover-up for rustling Barkay stock.
Well, that's a very serious charge. Now, it's not the duty of the United States Army to meddle with rancher squabbles. That's a civil matter, but when it comes to outlawry, there's something else again. I suppose you can back up your charges.
Not absolutely. But I think when you meet the man that's been leading these people wrong, there won't be any argument about it. Bring him in, boys.
Steve, what happened?
We had to talk him into coming.
Colonel, this is Steve McKay. Better known to you as Ringo.
Ringo! Corporal! Summon Lieutenant Baker and Sergeant Gowdy.
Yes, sir.
Is what Mr. Proctor said true?
If I were Ringo, you wouldn't expect me to admit it, would you?
I don't care who Proctor says he is. He's just trying to make us look bad.
I have made it look bad for you. After all, if you travel around with a murderer and outlaw, you've got some tall explaining to do.
Do either of you know this man? Well, Sergeant?
In view of the lieutenant's position, I feel he should answer that first, sir.
Hello, Mike. Nice to see you again. Yes, I'm John Baker, Ringo.
Well, Lieutenant, it seems that others have succeeded where you failed. We're very grateful to you, Mr. Proctor. You've been of great assistance. The sergeant will take the prisoner into custody and keep him well guarded. I'll see that you get a fair trial when you get back to Fort Blaine.
Thank you, sir. Well, Judge and Glenn, I'm sorry they don't want me to stay to the finish. But you don't need me to win over men like these. No matter what Proctor says, these folks didn't know who I was until today. I'll come back some of these days and settle up with you men.
You ain't coming back any place after they get through hanging you.
As for you, Proctor, you're going to lose what you hope to win most. Livy Weston.
All right, Sergeant, take him out.
Hasta luego, kid.
Lieutenant, it must be a great satisfaction to know that you had nothing to do with this capture.
Yes, sir. A great satisfaction.
That's all, Lieutenant. I could hold you two as being in league with Ringo, but I must give you the benefit of the doubt. After all, Ringo is the man we're primarily interested in. But I must advise you, Judge, you and your friends, to be very careful what you do.
You mean you ain't gonna do nothing about him? After all we've been telling you?
As I said, it's a civil matter entirely outside of my jurisdictions. Beside that, Mr. Proctor is able to back up his claims, and you're not. If you can get any affidavits against these people, you better submit them to Fort Blaine. They'll be acted on if justified.
Maybe I better drop it, Colonel. After all, I don't want to make enemies of these people.
Well, just as you say.
But thanks for your fine cooperation.
These things a part of me from now on?
We'll take them off at meal times.
Well, that's the last of the soldier boys. Wish we could get rid of all of them that easy.
Kind of gives us a free hand around here from now on, don't it?
We're going to end this thing quick. Tomorrow we'll start running these ranchers off the range, beginning with Larrabee. Don't use a gun unless you have to.
Like in self-defense, maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Steve had never got caught if he'd had a gun. Well, I got a gun. I got 2 of them. What's more, I'm aiming to use them.
You better bury that kind of talk before they bury you.
Listen, Pete, you go back to the ranch. You tell Al to shoot the first Bar K man he sees within a mile of our cattle.
But, boss...
Go on, hit the breeze, will you? Steve or Ringo, he was a good man. He was my partner, but he ain't here now, so I'm running things. And I'm gonna wipe out the barcade just like he said. Fill her up again. Fill them all up, all around here.
What is it, Dad?
Glenn.
What about him?
Now he's over the Gunlock Saloon drinking and talking big. I'm afraid there's going to be trouble. He's carrying 2 guns.
We're gonna wet our throats before we eat.
Hello, Wade.
Hello, honey. Livy, I'm going to treat the boys to the biggest beefsteak dinner you've got. And this is going to pay for it.
Oh, Wade, it's beautiful. But I can't accept it.
Sure you can, honey. You know how crazy I am about you.
I ain't just a-talking. You barcade fellas is gonna clear out of this town.
Look at him, a big gun toter. Where's 2 of them? You want to chew a wolf, Larrabee?
You killed Stewart, Dancer. You killed him.
Get back. Give me room. I told you before I don't go for that talk, Larrabee. So do something about it if you've got the nerve.
Oh, Wade, can't you stop them?
A man's feud's his own, Livy. I can't stop something that's none of my business.
You talk tough, but you don't act it, Larrabee. Take off your hat. You probably got yeller hair, too. Go for your iron, Larrabee, because I'm going for mine. I'll count 3. 1.
Stop it. There'll be no gunfighting.
Get out of my way.
Get away from him, Louis.
I said get out of my way.
No!
If you try it, Dancer, I'll shoot.
I shall arrest that man for disturbing the peace and lock him up.
Hurry it up. You try to start a gunfight.
Next time, there won't be any women around.
Fool women. Fool women.
Fool women? Why do you say that?
It was dangerous.
It was a frame-up. Glenn couldn't beat a professional gunman, and you know it. It's the way Stewart was killed. you wanted Dancer to trick Glenn into going for his gun.
No, Libby, no.
Keep away from me, Wade. Ringo told me I'd find out the truth for myself. Well, I have.
Ringo.
Get out of here, Wade. Get out and stay out.
Libby, you can't do this to me. You know I love you and want to marry you.
Marry you? At one time I might have, but not now. You're a murderer, just a murderer.
Libby!
I'm afraid they've got you marked, Glenn. What you did was foolish, but now that you're the key man against Proctor with McKay or Ringo gone, they'd have been after you anyway sooner or later.
You'll have to leave the country, Glenn. I'll go with you.
Thanks. I can't run away now.
Well, you better stay here at least for tonight anyway, where you'll be safe. This jail is as hard to get into as it is to get out of. Meanwhile, we've got to work out some plan of action.
Something's happened over at the saloon.
Eh?
Wade Proctor's gone crazy. I don't know what's happened, but he's raving like a wild man. Set out to the barcade for all the hands. Says he's going to break into the jail and take Larrabee out and hang him.
Let him try.
Claims all us ranchers is rustlers. Says he got a right to shoot any of us that ain't packing to leave the country but tomorrow night. Talks like a drunk man and ain't been drinking. Something's made him kill crazy.
There goes one of Proctor's hands now.
Louise, you'll have to round up the ranchers. Tell them to ride into town as fast as they can and tell them to come armed.
I'll go.
He wouldn't get 10 feet. Dancer's watching from the window over there, and he has been drinking.
Louise!
She'll be all right.
Here comes one of them now.
That's the girl.
She's riding away on Larrabee's horse.
Let her go.
Here come the ranchers.
You're making it easy for us, putting all our eggs in one basket.
For us to scramble.
All right, some of you men inside. The rest of you spread out around the jail.
Louise, come on in here. Hurry.
Yo, in the jail. Come on out, Larrabee, alone, or we're coming in after you.
You're wasting your time, Proctor.
Then the rest of you will take what's coming, and it's going to be rough. You're insane, Proctor.
Holy, whoa, whoa. Hey, what's the matter in this town? Is it Sunday or something? I never did see this town so quiet. of them. I'm going out.
No, you're not.
We're not licked yet.
Could have been away. Could have been safe and peaceful, but he stayed.
Ringo, how come? You can't be here.
Give me a gun, Buck. A good one.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Say, I've got just the gun for you. Oh, God.
They've had enough.
Hold your fire!
We don't want talk. We want Larrabee.
It's him! It's Steve.
I said I'd be back. Don't anybody move, because if you do, you'll die. All right, get rid of those rifles and drop those gun belts. You too, Dancer.
I don't take orders, Ringo. I give them.
I hear that you like to count to 3. All right. Start counting.
Sure. You might be lucky, Ringo. 1, 2, 3.
Anybody else?
Take him in charge. Now, what's going on here?
2 of these men I killed.
And there are others. In the jail, in the saloon. I think you'll see the truth this time, Colonel Price. Proctor and his gang were trying to kill all of us when Ringo came.
Well, I'll want to hear the whole story. From now on, you eat your meals with your handcuffs on.
Yes, sir. Sorry I caused you so much trouble, Mike. It won't happen again.
It's the way I wanted it, Ringo.
You keep right on baking those pies. I'll be back one of these days. So long, Louise and Ben.
Goodbye, Steve.
Thanks for the loan of the gun, Buck. Whenever you're ready, Colonel.